It's that time of the week again. New comic book day is coming up, so it's time to take a look at all the stuff on my pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the pull list. It's my weekly video series where I take a look at what's coming out so I can tell you which books are on the pull list, what's on the chopping block, and things that are also on my radar that maybe you should be checking out as well. And I always like to start these off with the book I'm most excited for. But first, this is day 4 of the 25 days of comics. Just in case you hadn't been keeping up, you didn't notice, over the weekend or Friday, I started the 25 days of comics challenge. I'm putting out a video every day in December until Christmas. So if you are late to the party, check out the playlist. It's right there or there. Pretty sure it was there. Check out the playlist. Get caught up. I'm having fun. We're doing some education, some entertainment, some list videos, some reviews, of course. And yeah, I'm having fun doing it. So hopefully you're having fun watching the videos. Now, let's get into the book that I am most excited about this week. And that is Transformers issue number 3. Now, Transformers brought to you by Skybound Entertainment. This is written by Daniel Warren Johnson with art by Daniel Warren Johnson, colors by Mike Spicer. And I'm assuming Russ Wooten's on letters because he usually is, but don't quote me because I'm honestly not sure. But Transformers, obviously, I said this last time, I'm not the biggest Transformers fan. I didn't grow up with the property like that. I watched the Michael Bay movies and they were just kind of typical popcorn fare, right? And you get the premise. Good robots, evil robots, humans caught in the middle of their war. The humans are going to side with the good robots and everybody's going to win and the day will be saved, right? Well, Daniel Warren Johnson is the king of taking a seemingly familiar, seemingly tired, or a seemingly out there concept and bringing it home with so much warmth and heart that it's just it's undeniable. And his art is so fluid and it just works so well with his brand of storytelling. I was like, how's Daniel Warren Johnson going to draw a mech book? That's not what I would expect to see. I'm thinking super tight, precise stuff anime inspired, maybe Gundam Wing or something with Transformers. No, Daniel Warren Johnson's art works incredibly well. But I think what seals the deal for me is the fact that Decepticons are allowed to be incredibly brutal. You would think with a licensed property based on a bunch of toys that they wouldn't be able to be as menacing as they are. But no, we're not shying away from the blood and gore and just the brutality that the Decepticons are capable of. And it makes you feel like the humans aren't just going to be able to just hide under Autobots and make themselves safe for the entire series. I really like that the stakes feel high. And like I said, the series has a lot of heart, which is pretty much what you would expect from any Daniel Warren Johnson book. I am excited about this. And that's why it's the first one on the pull list this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And man, my boy Skip would be so proud of us starting with indie comics this week. So let's continue that trend with Empath, issue number 2 from Black Box Studios, Black Box Comics, Black Box Publishing, Black Boxes. Anyway, written by my man Brian Hawkins. I got to preview issue number 1 of this early, so I spotlighted this about a month ago, I would assume. And basically, it's a vigilante hero. It's kind of like a street level type vigilante. And his superpower, if you will, is that he can feel other people's emotions and traumas and triggers and stuff, right? So he enters the situation, he learns about the victim, he learns about the aggressor, and kind of doles out justice measurably based on what he finds. But we also get this added angle that it seems that our hero is taking on all these different people's feelings in an attempt to avoid dealing with his own feelings and traumas. And that is just a really interesting concept that I think is going to be dope. It's solicited all the way up through issue number 5. So definitely, if you're interested in checking it out, pre-order it. Cover price on this one is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the indie pull list this week from Dynamite Entertainment is Negaduck, issue number 3. It's written by Jeff Parker, and I've never read a Jeff Parker comic before, but he's hilarious. This book is hilarious. I've been loving everything that Dynamite's done with Disney, but my favorite corner of that whole publishing line has to be the St. Canard universe. And Darkwing Duck has been great. This spinoff titled Negaduck has been great. Negaduck being Darkwing's dark opposite. is like, you know, out to prove through all sorts of bumbling, clumsy arrogance that he's the greatest villain in St. Canards. We're trying to pull off this heist of the Midas Gauntlet. And, you know, last issue, he tried to recruit Morgana to help him. She's like, yo, you're going on a fool's errand. Like, don't do this. But of course, he's arrogant and he's like, I'm going to do it. So again, hijinks ensue. We ended issue 2 with him in a pretty precarious situation. So I'm excited to see just what comes out of that. Like I said, it's been a funny series. All this makes me want is a Darkwing Duck reboot. But if I can't have the cartoon, hey, I'll take this comic because it's awesome. Negaduck number 3's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the Indie Comics pull list is a brand new series debut from Mad Cave Studios and friends of the channel, the Word Bros, Kevin Cuff and Bob France. This is Skeeters, issue number 1, a brand new horror comic from the team that brought you Dust Pirates and before that brought you Metal Shark Bro, the Ringo award-winning humor comics duo are now stepping out and doing a horror comic. And I typically don't read horror comics. I tell you that all the time. I specifically stay away from like supernatural. Like I don't do like demons and ghosts and stuff. But this one is about like an alien race of like huge killer mosquitos. And just that premise alone sounds hilarious. I expect that it's going to be funny as well as suspenseful. And that's why I'm excited about it. Plus, I trust the creative team. So cover price on that one is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the last book on the Indie Comics pull list this week is The Walking Dead Deluxe, issue number 78. You already know why this book's on the pull list. I'm buying all The Walking Dead Deluxe because it's the only way to get The Walking Dead in color. I was going to custom bind them. I'm not going to custom bind them. And I think we're getting close to the halfway point on this series, if I remember correctly. I don't know. But issue 78 is out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the indie comics on the pull list. So as long as I stick to the list, my indie books are going to cost me $22 this week, which is respectable. It's actually a lot for my indie list. It's usually not that high. Anyway, let's move over to DC Comics, where the first book on the pull list is, of course, Batman, issue number 140. Now, Batman, written by Chip Zdarsky, this issue's got art by Jorge Jimenez and Mike Hawthorne. So that's going to be good. But it's the second issue in the Mind Bomb story arc. Now, it's Batman versus Joker again, and that's kind of the only thing that I can count as a knock against it, because I just feel like we see Batman versus the Joker too often in the 5 years that I've been reading single issue comics. But the way it was done in issue 139, I really enjoyed. It was really suspenseful. The pacing was really good. And if you're going to have somebody draw on a Joker story, Jorge Jimenez is not a bad choice at all. But I do love that this is not just Batman versus Joker. It's Batman versus the Joker versus himself in the form of Batman Zur-en-arrh. So we're seeing Joker push Bats to his limits. And I'm excited to see what comes of that. So if Joker's got to be the agent to unlock Zur-en-arrh, then fine. Cover price on this one is $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next issue on the DC pull list and last is Shazam, issue number 6. So Shazam, Billy Batson, when he goes into the Captain Marvel form, or I guess we're calling him just the Captain to avoid saying Marvel. But when he's the Captain, we've seen over the last few issues that he's not quite acting like himself. And that's because basically the gods who give him his powers are trying to manipulate him, taking their turns, having their way with poor Captain there. And so Cap is finally wizened up to the scheme. And in this issue, we're going to finally get the conclusion in that battle of, him trying to, reclaim his body, his body, his choices, all that stuff, right? Shazam, issue number 6 has a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the DC Comics on the pull list. Cover price for all of those, my grand total for DC is going to be just $9. Nice, respectable total. Now, let's move over to the House of Ideas, where at Marvel Comics, we've got a couple books on the pull list, starting with The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 39. This is the official start to the Gang War event. Just in case you were wondering whether or not I'm buying the Gang War, I'm definitely buying the Gang War. But if you read that first strike issue from last week, basically we're seeing a bunch of low-level gangsters and stuff trying to take control of New York since Tombstone was kind of taken off the table in a way. And so we got all this crime happening at one time. Spidey's got to recruit a team to figure it or to stop it all. So we're getting a whole bunch of street level heroes and She-Hulk, apparently. And I think it's going to be a pretty fun storyline, pretty fun crossover. So I'm excited about it. Cover price on this is $5.99. That's kind of high for a Spider-Man comic. Hopefully it's like extra size with more pages or something. But $6 and I'm grabbing cover A. Next up on the Marvel Comics pull list is the Avengers, issue number 8. Now, I've been up and down on Avengers. Avengers feels off with the pacing. It's written by Jed MacKay with art by Carlos Villa. But there's something about the series that just hasn't quite been firing on all cylinders for me. And I think it's had to do with the pacing. Like it feels a little bit too much like Scooby-Doo, where it's like, all right, let's split up, gang. Fred and Daphne will take the living room and Shaggy and Scooby can go to this creepy basement and Velma will just go somewhere by herself. Right. And it's like, I guess it's fine to split up and, tackle your problems that way. But there's no cute dog to remind you of the fact that you're not hearing from the other people on the team. And it just feels kind of disjointed. So not really a big fan of the way the series has been paced so far. Like I said, it feels a little bit disjointed. But what hooked me in after issue 7, because we got the first story arc and that was cool. But after issue 7, or in issue 7, we basically find that there's a new person on the horizon that kind of mirrored the same thing that we saw with Kang the Conqueror in like issue 1 or 2. So then I'm like, oh snap. Well, if the villain in the first story arc if Kang was the one warning us about the villain in the first story arc, and now Kang is being warned, or we're being warned about Kang in the second story arc, then maybe there's like an overall story that we need to be following. And from what I've seen in reviews, some of this kind of ties all the way back to like that Timeless event that I didn't read around the time of the Loki series. So there's that. I don't know. He's got me hooked at least for this issue, but I don't know. I feel like the pacing issues are still going to be a thing. Cover price on Avengers number 8 is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the Marvel Comics pull list, speaking of kind of disjointed stories, is the Fantastic Four, issue number 14. And it's not so much that Fantastic Four is disjointed. Fantastic Four, written by Ryan North, has been like a series of 1 or 2 issue story arcs. So it kind of feels like one-off adventures that don't feel like they're necessarily building to anything. Except this one plot thread that opened up in issue, 2, 3, 4? 4. Anyway, Reed basically shipped the kids off and through a time portal. They're not going to come back for another year, right? Well, this month marks the year. And so they're supposed to be coming back in this issue. But of course, there's going to be some kind of obstacle. I'm excited to see it, actually. I'm really enjoying Fantastic Four. This has been like my palate cleanser book, if you will, since I don't have to have 6 months of story in my head at one time. So I'm enjoying it. Fantastic Four issue 14 has got a cover price of $3.99. Grabbing cover A. And that brings us to the last book on the Marvel Comics pull list, and the last book on my pull list in general. That is XMen, issue number 29. XMen, written by Jerry Duggan. I can't lie, man. I'm still behind on XMen. Sins of Sinister just seems like an event too much, if I'm honest. Yeah, so I don't know what's happening in X-Men, but hey, Dr. Doom's on this cover. And apparently Dr. Doom's got his own team of mutants that the X-Men got to fight. I don't know, man. I'm just ready for the fall of X to be over. I probably shouldn't be subscribed to 5 X-Men titles. That doesn't make it any easier, but it is what it is. Cover price on this one is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And so that's it for the Marvel books on the pull list. So if I stick to the list, those are just going to cost me $18, which means that I'm actually bumping right up against my budget this week with a grand total of $49. I try to keep it below 50 at all times, but hey, it's what it is. Not a terrible week. So 25 Days of Comics continues with a whole bunch of new comics coming in on Wednesday. I'm excited about them. What are you excited to read? Let me know down below. Is there something that was on your radar that maybe wasn't on mine? Usually I like to do an on the radar section where I shout out a bunch of new number ones. But if I'm honest, the only thing that really looks interesting to me is this Batman Santa Claus special, which is a 2-parter. So that's that as far as new comics are concerned. What's it called? What's the thing called? Did they move it? Is it coming out next week now? I'm looking for it and I don't see it. So maybe it got moved to December 13th. I don't know. There's a bunch of DC Christmas stuff coming up. That's weird. Anyway, not a whole bunch on the radar this week. Let me know what you're grabbing down below. Huge shout out to the channel family for making videos on this channel possible and for supporting during the 25 days of comics. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I'll see you guys in another video tomorrow. Till then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.